Hi, I'm Marlow Artis. Thank you so much for visiting my blog, Tar Heel Teachers. Today I'm being joined by Randy Fredricks. He is a candidate for the Cumberland County Board of Education. He is seeking one of the at-large seats. Mr. Fredricks, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me. My first question, a couple of years ago you ran for a seat on the Board of Education and you weren't elected. Why did you decide to run this time?
For the same reason I decided to run last time. Last time was to get introduced to the system, how it worked, to find out how political it was. So that this time I got into it, I understood that. My reasons for getting into the race are simply what we're doing to the children, I believe, is wrong. What we're doing to the teachers, I believe, is wrong. We need a change. Our board has been there for 12 to 20 years. They're unapproachable unless you do what they want you to do. When you go to them with real concerns, they have ways of addressing it to put fear in you. We shouldn't have that. I think that they've been there long enough that they're just abrasive. They're tired of people bringing issues to them. All they want to do is do what they want to do, and if it's uncomfortable for them, they want to cover it up.
Do you think, because it sounds like you may have some personal stories and some personal things that you're referring to, do you think that's how the school board operates with everybody, or do you think that's something that maybe has happened at a certain school or with certain individuals? Because there's a lot of people who would say that the board's very approachable. Every time I see them, very pleasant. They attend events, they teacher of the year banquets and concerts and events that we have here in the system. So are you saying that's not the case, or is there something hidden behind the veil? Yeah,
there's something behind the veil. I mean, when they're out in public and they do that, they're going to put on that PC face and all that stuff. It's what happens when they're not in public that it comes back out to get people. My instance is I went to the board about finding out more about special needs kids because my wife had a blind child in her class and got me interested. When I went to the board and I asked some serious questions, the response I got back from my board member was, "Mr. Fredricks, you don't want to make waves for us at the Board of Education. We'll make your wife's job so miserable she won't want to work for us." I went home and told my wife that, and it scared her. People shouldn't have to fear for their jobs for something they don't do. It was me that spoke out to the board, not my wife, not for my wife. I don't feel like the board has that power. I feel like it's abuse of power. And it's just not me. It's countywide. It depends a lot on the principals that are picked for schools. There are a lot of excellent principals out here in the schools. And then there are the ones there that are to do what I call the underhanded work of the board.
So the system that you're describing seems a little negative. It seems a little abrasive. Those are terms that you've used. Why would you want to join a system like this? If it is like that, why would you want to join a system like this?
Why would I not want to join? If it's that way, you can't change it if you don't try. If you're just going to sit on the sidelines and say, and allow them to treat people that way and do things the way they do, then you're just contributing to their egos. In order to do something, you have to step out there and be bold. I'm stepping out there and being bold. And we'll see how it turns out.
Okay. How pleased have you been with the progress of your campaign? Is it a lot different the second time around, or have you encountered some of the same situations?
I'm happy with the progress. I think the people that are running for the Board of Education have ran a decent campaign. There hadn't been any mudslinging. They haven't done underhanded stuff that I've caught anybody with. So I am pleased with how it's run as far as with the other board members and how they've run their campaigns. I'm doing mine word of mouth. I decided not to do the political thing with the signs. Mine's all been talking to people, Facebook, whatever, email, whatever I can get it out there to the people. Plus the people I work with, working on Fort Bragg, a lot of people know who I am. So that's how I'm running mine.
Okay. What surprised you the most in this election? What has been the most surprising?
that there's 9 candidates that are impressionable people, that there are 9 candidates that have good beliefs. That has impressed me the most, that it's given the voters a chance to really do some good for the board. Hopefully that will happen. Have to wait and see.
Okay. So what do you consider to be the role of the school board? If you're elected, what do you anticipate will be your role? What will you do? How will you bring about a positive change, since you said there is a need for change?
Well, first you have to get into the system, find out what's really going on. Being an outsider, when you go ask, you don't know what's going on. So you have to get in, you have to figure out what's going on. I think part of the role was giving guidance to the superintendent. I think he's a little misguided in where he's headed in some areas. I think he's doing fine in some areas.
Okay. What are some areas that you would give the superintendent guidance?
He really needs to look at how his teaching staff are being treated. He really needs to look at the workloads that's being put on teachers. We pay them for 8 hours a day, but we give them workloads that are 12 hours or more a day. I hear it from all teachers, just not few. Why are you in this classroom this late? We can take it right now. Why are you in this classroom this late?
Well, I love to work, and I'm a workaholic, but I agree with you. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of moving components to be a teacher.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be as bad as it is. I think we're too much into tracking stuff. We're too, the technology age, even though the stuff is nice, it creates extra work. And when they give teachers new workloads, they don't take anything away. So if you're going to have something new to them, something has to go. You can't just keep piling it on them and piling it on them and expecting them to come out and make you look like you're wonderful. Superintendent's up for some award.
Superintendent of the year.
Yeah, so our teachers are making him look good. But he's just adding more and more workload to him. And he wants to blame it on other people. DPI, the Congress, the laws they adopt. There's things he can do within our own district to lessen that. And I think he needs guidance in that area.
Okay.
Another area that I'd like to see done is I'm not a fan of the zero tolerance for children. They went away from zero tolerance. It did a lot of harm to a lot of children. They put them in bad things. Now we've gone to, we're not quite zero tolerance, but intent. You can't prove intent. What we have to do is figure out how to reach our children. We have to figure out what's going to work for them, not figure out how to punish them because they had a bad day, bad week. We really have to delve into it. People need to look at it more. And I don't think the board is the right one to make the decisions. I think we need input from the staff.
Assessment is a major component of education. Your wife's a teacher, I'm a teacher. People have to assess all the time. How would you assess the current configuration of the school board? If you had to give them a grade in terms of how they're doing right now, what grade would you give them and why?
It would really depend. There's certain areas that I would give them Bs.
Such as?
Is probably in their support of the school system, showing up to functions, do stuff like that. I was kind of disappointed at them with the Reading Rocks thing, that there was only 3 board members there. Plus the superintendent.
I think I saw 3.
But they're putting forth the efforts in the public, what's out in front of the public's view, which to me is just a no-brainer. I would give them C minuses, if not Ds, in taking care of their employees. Bottom line, without y'all, we don't need them. Y'all do the hard work. Y'all are the ones that need to be taken care of. Y'all are the ones that need to be listened to. We pay all this money and come up with all these new programs to evaluate and assess the system. We don't need that. We got y'all. Y'all are in current day, real life situations. Y'all are the ones we need the assessments for. The teacher, teacher survey for the principal.
Working condition survey?
The working condition survey, to me, is a joke, because it just asks about your principal. It asks about your school. There are more things that affect a teacher's life than the principal and the working conditions at school. The workload and what's happening to them from central office. You know, being said, you gotta do this today. Oh, we need this now. You know, the superintendent, how well he supports them. That teacher work survey needs to encompass the whole system, not one building. I would want to change that. I want to know what the feedback is. You know, if we're doing something wrong at central office, we have no feedback on it. We don't allow it. We need to expand that.
Okay. How confident are that you're going to be elected? Do you feel comfortable in that when you talk to people, when you have these face-to-face, you know, you haven't done the signs and the whole political thing, do you feel confident that you're going to be successful on November the 4th?
I feel like I'm going to be successful in getting the word out and letting people know that there are people out there that are concerned about them. From the last election and what I learned from it, it's going to be a toss-up. It's going to depend on what the voters do this year. You know, if a lot of people get active in it and vote, it'll do good. I know I'm not one of the board's picks, and I know board members support their picks really hard, and they carry a lot of power and push. So I'm expecting that to happen this time. I think the board's going to get the people that they want. It might not necessarily be...
Who does the board want? Who do you think the board wants?
Who do I think the board wants? I think they want Greg West. I think they want Rudy Tatum. And it's between Donna Van and, the young man that's a lawyer, and I can't think of it.
Noah Hancock?
No, yeah.
Okay. So you think those are the ones that specific board members are pushing for those people?
Sure I do.
Okay. In what way?
Well, you know, I mean, I just look at it from the school system. You know, if I had to work with people, I'd want people that were under our thumbs and knew how we were, and we have them trained. Yeah, but it's truthful. You know, I mean, they're trained as supervisors, you know. I don't look as principals and, you know, central office and those folks as being educators anymore. They were educators, and they were good educators, but they left the classroom. They went to become supervisors. That's what they are. They're supervisors.
So you don't see them as instructional leaders and having the curriculum component?
As a supervisor, that's part of it, you know. You can give them instructional leadership. The problem is, you know, if what you taught was 8th grade and you get put over a school that only has kindergarten and 1st grade, you don't have a clue. I'm sorry. I've seen it, you know. So
you don't think the skills are transferable?
I think it depends on the person.
Okay.
It really depends on the person, you know. There are people that the skills can be transferable, but there are people that say, well, all I ever dealt with is 3rd to 8th grade. And they don't understand the lower levels. And some don't want to try to learn it, some do. It all depends on the person, and that's why it's important that we do a better job at who we put at principalships.
What do you think should be the criteria when choosing a principal? Because, you know, there's a possibility, if you are elected, that you could be on the personnel committee. So what do you think would be a good criteria, a good basis when choosing principals?
I want feedback from the staff where they worked at, the other teachers, and I want truthful feedback. Right now, that's, in my opinion, it's not possible in our current system. If teachers give true feedback to stuff, they fear retaliation. Is it all of them? No, but I guarantee it's probably 50% of the school system. So I want feedback from teachers. I want honest feedback. I want stuff that we can use, make good decisions, and move forward. I don't want somebody to tell me what they think I want to hear. I just talked to a principal real recently at a high school, and he told me that they came down and they asked him a question. They said, you know, we want your input on this. You know, can you tell us how to cut this budget? And he said, and I thought to myself, do they really want my input, or are they just checking the block to say they asked me? Those are the things that drive me. Let's get the answers. Let's get them from the people that can make the changes to make our children's lives better. and to do a better job with them. The poppycock needs to go, I'm sorry.
Okay. What are 3 reasons why you should be elected? If you can sum it up in 3 reasons why you're saying you're not the board's pick, but why you should be the voters' pick.
Because I do what I say. I listen. I want to know what the real problems are. I don't want to know what the fake problems are, because you can't make changes with them. And I have integrity. My word is my bond. If I tell you something, I'll stand behind it, even if I have to pay the price. We need that integrity. We need the input. So, if those are 3 reasons, I got integrity, I'll stand, I'll live by the sword and I'll die by it. We need to listen. We need to listen to the experts that are out here right now. That's the classroom teachers. It's not the people that left the classroom, You've been out of the classroom for 10 years, other than the dog and pony shows that happen. You really don't know what's going on in the classroom. You don't know how the children have changed. You don't know how the parents have changed. But yet, you're trying to guide it from a central location. So, those are my reasons why I think people should vote for me.
Okay. So if you're elected, do you think that others, the central service individuals, the principals, some of the things that you say have been brutally honest?
They have.
And some people may think it's a little harsh. Do you think that they're going to be receptive to working with you, and do you think you're going to have a good, how long is the term, 4 years?
4 years.
So do you think it's going to be a smooth transition of 4 years and you'll be able to work with them, even though it's some of that harsh criticism?
I don't look at it as harsh criticism, I just look at it as truth. If they look at it as harsh criticism, maybe they need to relook at what they're really doing. Do I think I can work them? Sure. I think I can work a whole lot better with them that if we gain 4 seats on this board. Because there are 4 seats up for grab on this election. 3 that the voters get to choose from, and 1 that the board might get to choose. So
If Larry Lancaster is elected.
that's Larry. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Larry's a good man. Nobody's got 20 years on the board. I wish he would have chosen to become a commissioner and vacated his spot so the public could pick who fills his slot instead of the board. That's part of that power thing there. They're trying to maintain control. So I think the best thing that can happen, and the biggest progress we can make, is if we get 4 new members on the Board of Education. We still have 5 there that have the experience, the knowledge. They've been there for years. They have the connections. They can teach us. But it'll be better than 2. If you fill in 2 boards on the seat, I'm not sure you'll see much progress. I think you will see more of the same.
Even if you're one of those seats?
Even if I'm in one of those seats. I think whoever gets, the only difference between me and some of the others is if they do it, I will tell it. I won't be afraid to tell it. We need to hold people accountable. The board needs to be held accountable. If we're going to hold teachers, children, principal, everybody else accountable, the board needs to be held accountable. They have a code of ethics that they're supposed to follow. They need to follow it. If they don't follow it, I'll tell it.
So as it is now, you don't think they're following it?
I know they're not following what happened to me.
What happened to you?
Was my wife's job getting threatened? They broke their code of ethics. I went to 2 other board members. They sugarcoated it.
So how has everything been fine with your wife? With your wife now, is everything running smoothly, or do you think she's still under scrutiny?
She is, but she's decided that she's got her time in, and she doesn't agree with what teachers are being forced to put on children, and she's gone. She's retired. So I don't have the fear of retaliation from the board anymore. The nonprofit I was with, I don't have retaliation. I don't have that fear. I don't have fear of them.
What was the retaliation with the nonprofit?
They didn't like me speaking out in their board meetings about homeless and hungry and homeless kids. the organization I was with, we were doing 750 backpack buddies a week. I spoke out about it. We needed help. We needed sponsorship. The board goes with Second Harvest Food Bank. I know we do a lot with Second Harvest Food Bank, but they weren't willing to help. They wanted to take us in, or they wanted to take the nonprofit under their thing for the money. And it got, because I got so vocal, that they told the president of the nonprofit that if she didn't keep me away from board meetings, they would stop her from participating in that program with the schools.
So what happened? Did you stop going, or?
Yeah, she couldn't get support of the schools, and she was under the pressure, and everything was done by grants and who you could work with and everything, and she just finally decided the school system wasn't going to work with her, or at least embrace her, that it would be better if she just stepped down. And, when we ran out of money, that was it. She closed it down. I haven't heard what happened to the 750 children, but I don't know.
Is that something that you anticipate, if you're elected, you're going to work to try to reconnect those services and be able to continue in that era?
I think that's a big concern we need to do. If children come to school hungry, it definitely affects their classroom performance and what teachers can get out of them. Are we responsible for it? No, as a school board. But as human beings, yeah, we are. They're children. So I'd like to get into that. I'd really like to find out what motivates. Last year, I believe it was over 750 homeless children listed in our school system, going to school every day. I want to find out what motivates them to go to school. Maybe we can learn something from them to help the masses. It's just strange how I think about things, but those things bother me.
Mm-hmm. So really, you're a concerned citizen. Your wife's a teacher, so you've seen it from her perspective. You're a concerned citizen who wants to help teachers. You want to go in and change some things on the board. Is that about sum it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much sums it up. Try to make things better. Well, and I feel like we need new people to make it better.
Well, everybody has to make a choice when they go into that voting box, and when it's time for them to cast their ballots. We've got a couple more days before the election, and we wish you the best. And we know that despite whether you win or lose, we know that you'll continue to advocate for the issues that you feel are important.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marlow.